I find myself always comparing trim levels to try to get a feel for which one makes more sense. And in this video, I'm going to explain why you should probably get a high country or why you should probably get an LTZ. I'm here at Jerry Seiner in Salt Lake City. They have a Chevy store here. They also have a Cadillac and Kia store, so if you are in the market, they do have a huge selection of inventory right now, so perfect time to come out. If you are in the market, let them know you saw the video. Now when you look at the front of the trucks, there's not much difference in comparison. They both have LED headlights, fog lights, tow hooks. Now one thing you do notice on the Chevy Silverado High Country is that it does have painted bumpers. However, on the LTZ, it does come standard with the chrome bumpers. You also probably notice that the grille is slightly different and it has like a bronze color right here as an insert versus the Chevy Silverado LTZ. This grille you see on the 2LT models, and it's not as nice in my opinion compared to the High Country, but there's not much difference in comparison. So at what point should you consider the LTZ over the High Country? Well, here's my first point. If you do plan on towing a trailer, my channel is typically about that anyways. Payload is extremely important, right? So let's take a look at the payload of both these trucks. Alrighty, so this is the sticker for the LTZ. So you have 3,802 pounds of payload. And here's some of the other towing numbers. Feel free to pause it if you want to see more. And here's some of your towing numbers there. And pretty much these numbers are going to be the same for both trucks because they're both Duramax diesels. Now the only exception is if you do upgrade the axle up front, there is an option for that too. So just keep that in mind. Now before I show you guys the payload for the High Country, I want to make another point here. Anytime you're looking at a higher trim level, you're always going to lose payload. So if you were to step down to like an LT or even step down to like a work truck, you're going to see a totally different payload. Even the custom trim level does land you more payload compared to this LTZ. But this truck doesn't have a ton of options. Now with the Duramax diesel, they do increase the GVWR on this pickup, so that's going to obviously help a lot with the payload here. But this has a Z71 off-road package, and then here's everything that's going to come there, and then here's a few other things. So you know, ventilated seats, gooseneck prep package, sunroof, all these things are going to increase the weight of the truck, which is going to decrease your payload. Multi-flex tailgate, the truck has that too. Now as far as this High Country goes, I think this High Country has a little bit less options, just a little bit, but keep in mind most of the things that you see here come standard on the High Country. So let's take a look at the payload now that you have an idea. So this LTZ does have a sunroof, and sunroof does take away from the payload. So here it is, 3,739 pounds. So you're probably thinking that's only 60 pounds difference, and you're right. But keep in mind, if you were to take off the sunroof, put a front bench, because I believe the LTZ comes standard with the front bench, you could pick up more payload because of that. 60 pounds, like my kids, for example, one of my kids is about 60 pounds. So if you consider that, that gives me more capacity to bring more people or bring more gear. Especially if you think about your fifth wheel hitch. I mean, fifth wheel hitches are about 200 to 250 pounds. So that's where I think the LTZ is the better option. If you really need to tow a fifth wheel, I would 100% go down to this LTZ trim package. But that's the first point. Payload is going to be a little bit better on the LTZ. Now, let's talk about some of your comfort features. Alrighty, so I'm back over at the LTZ. Something you have to consider, you know, when you're considering the LTZ and High Country is standard equipment. As I mentioned, a lot of people don't really care for the simple things. Like, for example, if you look at the infotainment system here, this is going to be the exact same thing in the high country. So you're not going to get any upgrade in that regard. However, if you look at this screen here, this is a smaller display compared to the high country. However, you can get the same display that's in the high country in this LTZ. You just have to opt for it. And another thing is, this one does not have the wireless charging station. So again, there's a few things that are missing from this LTZ that's on this high country. Now, the problem I always see, because I'm actually here at Seiner, I'm going to be ordering a truck. You guys are going to see the videos for that. I built an LTZ and then I built a high country. I like certain options, and you know, personally, I like power deployable running boards, and I personally like to have the 20-inch wheels. I like the way they look versus the 18s. I don't care for chrome bumpers, but the problem I always see when I see people building pickups is they always go for the lower trim levels because they're trying to save money. But here's the problem. Most people look at the starting price of any pickup and they figure, oh, the LTZ is going to start at $62,995. The high country starts at $72,595, so that's $9,600 in difference. But here's the problem you're going to probably run into with this truck. I am going to make the truck the same color just for apples to apples here. But if you want 20-inch wheels, or if you want running boards, or if you want bucket seats, or if you just want some of the tech features that come with these pickups, this is where you're going to run into the biggest issue. So if I click the Chrome Sport Edition here, it's going to give you the running boards, the 20-inch wheels, a few other things. They also have what's called a LTZ Plus package and a convenience package. So when you start adding bucket seats and front center console and all these different things, power sliding rear window with rear defogger, if you want these things, I strongly recommend you either pick one of these options or none of them, because at some point you start clicking too much stuff and now your price point is at $72,040. So I didn't even click everything here. So here's what I mean by that. If you look at a high country, the starting price is $72,595. And then when you start looking at the overall price, it's at $74,530. And I have pretty much everything selected here. I mean, this is the only option for the high country, and it gives you everything, including the fifth row prep package. So this is a really good option, and they give you a discount of $500, so it's $1,965. And I did add the dark essentials, and that's pretty much it, guys. So again, when you really start to look at some of these features, I would strongly recommend that you do some research, because this isn't much different from this number here. So it might make more sense to get the higher trim level if you do want to get a bunch of this extra stuff that comes a part of the LTZ. In closing, on this high country, there are a few things that you probably wouldn't think about. Like, for example, I do like the seating a little bit better. Like, look at the accent they give you here. Also up top here, just looks nicer, a little bit more upscale. And then look at it on this one. Nothing wrong with this. I mean, you still have that perforated leather seat, but you don't have that accent on the seat as you just saw in the embroiderment for LTZ there. It's just not there. And as you guys saw, there's no charging station. The screen is a little bit smaller for your gauge cluster. There's no heads-up display. All those things are missing on this truck. On this one, as you just saw, the interior is just a little bit nicer. You have that larger screen. There's just more information at your fingertips, personally. I like that. And heads-up display, it's right there. You have that wireless charging for your phone down below. And you probably haven't even thought about this, but there you go. You have that 360 camera view. This is super helpful. And typically when you have this, it comes with the bed camera too. And that one package, what was it called again? It was called the High Country Deluxe package. That package was $1,995, I believe it was, with the discount. And it gave you the fifth wheel prep package. It gave you a few other things too, like the following, for like if you're behind somebody, it'll give you the alerts for that. And I just think that if you're gonna add a bunch of options to the LTZ, just get the high country. But if you don't care about the bench seat, if you don't really need the 20-inch wheels, all that stuff, or if you don't really care about the bumpers being painted, I really think the LTZ is the better buy. You're gonna pick up more payload, as you just saw, and that's where that truck wins. It wins by not adding a bunch of options, because I didn't mention this yet, but that will depreciate a car. I don't care what anyone says. People say it doesn't. When you go to get your truck or your car appraised, a lot of the options that you choose don't even show up to give you value. Now, wheels, sunroof, tow prep package, those things typically give you value. But for the most part, there are some features that will not show up as an ad when they go to appraise your car, which means you're going to lose that in depreciation. And so that's just something to consider. So if you get a high country, you're not spending as much money for the features. I didn't show that to you guys, but maybe if I have a second, I'll show you the price difference for the LTZ and how much options that you chose and how much you picked versus the high country. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Make sure your bell notifications are on, and let me know what you guys think about this video. Like I said, I did this because I thought about it because I'm actually here getting ready to order a truck, and this kind of came to me when I saw the high country and the LTZ parked together. But be sure to let Jerry Seiner know you saw the video if you do buy from them. See you guys soon.